Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Quintessence of Leadership. So, we're excited to be joining you today on LinkedIn. And Kristen and I were behind the scenes talking and laughing, and we were like, oh, it's time to start. and then we went to start, and it told us there was an error with LinkedIn. The gall of LinkedIn. But here we are. Technology is loving us today. The gods are shining on us, right, Kristen?
Yeah, we were scared, but it came through for us.
It came through.
Yeah.
And so we're going to just be with you for about the next 20 to 30 minutes. If you have anything you want to say in the comments, it should come up. We should be able to see them. But if we don't, we'll circle back. Even if you're joining replay and you post some comments, please be sure to tag myself or Kristen so that we know and we can come back and respond to your comment. So with that, thank you again for joining us. I am joined by my dear friend, colleague, like sister in like figuring things out with culture, amazing woman, amazing mom, just all the things, right? And that is Kristen Diggs. So Kristen, welcome.
Thank you. And I can say all the same things about you from the moment we met. We just clicked, and it was the start of just a really awesome relationship. So I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Oh, thank you. And for those of you who don't know, so Kristen is actually from the East Coast, and she had moved out here to San Diego, and we'll talk about what she's doing in San Diego. And she had started a new position as a CHRO at a nonprofit out here, SDYS, San Diego Youth Services. And she just posted on LinkedIn, hey, I'm new out here, just, utilizing LinkedIn. And I was like, oh, she just sounds like a lovely lady. Let me respond. And responded, found out we had some things in common. And here we are years later, still cultivating friendship, growing, spending time together outside of the workplace. So I want to encourage all of you who think LinkedIn is like, oh, nothing ever comes of it. Yes, it does. We have built friendship. We have built business relationship. And what we're going to talk about today too, San Diego Youth Services, the board, the work that Kristen does in the world, and then just some really, and some of the challenges Kristen has experienced, right? As a CHRO, maybe not even just at San Diego Youth Services, but in her long career, and that how she sits on the board of SHRM, and she sees other things as well. She sees trends. And so this conversation is going to be rich. We're going to talk about mentorship. We're going to talk about culture, communication, all the things leadership. So with that, Kristen, welcome.
Thank you. All my passion areas. So
yes. So let's first kick it off. You are the CHRO of San Diego Youth Services, which I also sit on the board for. Tell us a little bit about San Diego Youth Services, who you serve, what is the mission, and why are you so passionate about it?
Sure. So San Diego Youth Services, we've actually been around for about 55 years now. And when we started in 1970, we started as one of the only 3 homeless shelters for youth in the United States. The homeless shelter is still kind of the cornerstone of our agency, and we still run that in the Bankers Hill area of San Diego. We are the only youth homeless shelter for youth ages 12 to 17 in San Diego. So youth can come between the ages of 12 to 17. Youth can come for any reason. We present very low barriers for them to get in, have a place to sleep, eat, get to school. They get case management, they get therapy services within the shelter. So since that time then, we have branched out to programs all throughout the county of San Diego. And so for me, the way that I like to describe it as it's combating the systemic issues of homelessness, right? So our mission is working with kids ages 0 to 24. And the way that we describe it, and I attribute our just retired CEO, Walter Phillips, for this, is that he describes San Diego Youth Services as a house. And so one of our values is there's no wrong door, because youth can come in any door of that house, any window, and we are going to we're going to have a program that gets them the help that they need, right? So any challenge that they're having, they come into our house, we get them the help and services that they need. And if we can't do it, we have a partner agency that can do it, right? So they come in to get off the streets. If they're older, they come into our drop-in center during the day. We have programs for LGBTQ youth.
Mm-hmm.
We are in the school doing prevention and early intervention, adoptions, foster care, ending girls' incarceration, juvenile
Yes.
justice. So it's really, we have about 230 employees now. We have locations all over, mainly Central and East County.
Yes.
And we are going strong after 55 years helping the vulnerable youth of San Diego.
Oh, that is wonderful. This is why, as you all can hear, this is such a massive mission, right?
Yes.
Because youth homelessness, trafficking, all of
Trafficking.
these
Yep.
things are very, very real. So definitely, I just want to put something in here right quick. Definitely, please go on LinkedIn and follow San Diego Youth Services. Because Kristen, how is this funded? This is a nonprofit. How are all
Yep.
these programs funded?
So our breakdown is about 90% funded by federal, state, and county grants. And then the last 10% is through private donors, foundations. Our budget sits around 28 million. So
Mhm.
it's a lot of money that comes from public grants. And we have, as many nonprofits, especially in social services, over the past year and a half. I mean, we've struggled and we've
Yeah.
really had some trouble keeping our programs. I mean, and one example is that we ran a suicide prevention and anti-bias
Yes.
program in the East County schools, and that lost all of its funding as of
Yes.
yesterday.
Yes.
So that was incredibly devastating to the agency to end that program and all the youth that it has served over the years. We had
Yes.
12 staff members in the program.
Mm.
So that has been cut. And then we had a lot of money cut from our adoptions program. We have a workforce development program.
Yes.
Money was cut from that. So we are experiencing it. And the way that we hope to come out of it is just engage the community more and get support from the community to kind of make up the differences with our
Yes.
grant funding.
Yes, yes, absolutely, Kristen. And so this actually leads me into a question about when you have these type of losses within an organization, right? You have a workforce, they're very committed. They're from,
Mhm.
right? They do all kinds of therapists and just, I mean, program managers, all of these things.
Yep.
And this is the work, like this is the work that they believe in. How
Yes.
do you, as a leader in the organization, when the kind of, for lack of a better term, the carpet is kind of pulled out from under
Yeah.
your feet, right? For programs that are valuable, the metrics show the value that they bring to
Yep.
these particular schools and the youth that are being served. How do you kind of step in as leadership and it can really bring down just the morale a bit,
Yes.
right? How do you
Absolutely.
step in as CHRO and then engage your team to kind of uplift? How do you do that? Because it's hard. It's hard.
It's
Yeah.
hard. And, I'll use the example of our suicide prevention program that ended as of yesterday. It's so weird to say as of yesterday, we no longer have that program. So we found out about the grant funding being cut from that actually at the end of 2025.
Okay.
And so my chief program officer, my CEO, they really were working with county and state officials to try to see if there was anything they could do to get the money back, if there was other funding sources. By mid-January, we were pretty certain that this program was going to go away and we were going to
Yeah.
have to let go of the staff. And I think at that time, there was about
Mm.
15 staff in there. And the way that we approached it, Alicia, which I really value from this management team, is that we wanted to be as honest and as
Yeah.
transparent as we possibly could. So we went to a staff meeting with that. I mean, we were already working with the director and the program manager, and myself and our chief program manager. We met with all of the staff from that program in mid-January,
Mm.
and we told them, "This is what's happening. This is what we're doing. We're looking at some alternate funding sources, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we need you to know that this program could potentially go away on June 30th. We're going to do everything we can to keep it, but there is that possibility. At the end of the day, the program did go away. But what we did over the last 6 months as a management team and as the HR team is we worked really closely with those staff members because it was our priority to either get them placed into other positions within the agency, or we were going to help them and do what we could to help them transition to other positions outside of the agency.
Wow. Wow.
And I will say what I feel like we did, I will just brag a little bit because I feel like we did a really good job about that, because one of the things that I recommended was that we did hire a consultant that was skilled in transition and outplacement services. And so when we initially engaged with him, because there were so many staff that were going to lose their jobs on June 30th, we decided that the best option would be create a cohort of all the staff that were potentially losing their jobs. And so so not only would they get the support from an expert and help their LinkedIn profile and their resume and interviewing, they were going to have each other to kind of lean on and go through this together. And Alicia, by the time that we engaged with the consultant, we started forming our cohort. We had no one for the cohort because everyone had either already found a position to transfer to within the agency, or because we had given them so much notice and so much support with interviewing or whatever they needed to do, they had already found positions outside of the agency for July 1st. So we literally could not even engage with him because we did such a good job of helping those staff transition to other programs.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And so, I feel really good that at the end of the day, we took care of all those staff, and we also, and the rest of the agency knew, because we had monthly meetings, like they knew we are trying to help these staff. Not only are we trying to still get funding back for the program, but at the end of the day, if we lose the program, we are going to help and love on those employees to make sure that they're in a good place in their career and their life on June 30th.
And Kristen, like, wow, I have goosebumps from that.
Aww.
That truly is leadership. That's the leadership that's transparent, it's authentic, it's inclusive. You weren't hiding. So the staff just felt very involved and very honored, I'm sure, in the process. I mean, honored as people, their lives, right? Because they have families, they have things that they have to navigate. And you didn't try to keep it secret and tied in and spring it on them 30 days out, right? Or 15 days out. I love that. That is a demonstration of true leadership, of putting people first in an organization. People first in an organization. And you should be proud of that. And that is actually a model that I encourage each of our listeners that are here live, or even if you're listening to the replay, implement a model of transparent leadership. I'm telling you, it will change your culture. It will create a level of trust and loyalty that you are probably already seeing, Kristen, since you've even been there. I know that has been part of your charge, that you wanted to really have a culture of trust within, the organization. And so that's like proof. Those are metrics.
Those are metrics. I mean, those are very tangible. And as being a board member, there was one meeting, a board meeting where, the question was raised, what are we doing for the morale?
Right.
And I really took that to heart. And I'm like, we are going for it. We're going to take care of these staff. And we're also going to make sure that the rest of the staff knows that we're taking care of them. So, because all of our contracts, I mean, they're on 1, 2, 3, 5-year schedules. So this could happen at any time to any of our staff and programs. And so if that does happen, our staff know, like, we are going to be transparent and we are going to take care of them.
That part, Kristen. And Sean said he loves that story.
Aww.
So yes, because it's very real, it's relatable. And let's also, Kristen, was that easy?
No. It was because It was just not easy because, as you have mentioned, Alicia, we are all incredibly passionate.
Yes.
Our staff members, our board members, we are here
Yes.
because we are passionate about the mission and what we're doing. Many of
Yes.
my staff have lived experience, which means that they have experienced homeless, they have been trafficked, they were in the foster care system, and they had people or organizations that helped them. And so they have now come back because they want to give back, right? So they've had a lot of trauma. And so we are
Right.
very trauma informed, not just with our youth, but with our staff.
That's right.
And it's hard and it's emotional because people are here because they want to help. And um, it's hard when you go
Yeah.
through situations like this.
Yeah, definitely. What have you implemented, Kristen, like in within the organization to help strengthen the leadership? Like what type of, I know that there is like an internal university, for lack of a better term,
Yep.
all of those things that are really helping. Because a lot of it, let's just be real, right? Even in the work I do, I can see a lot of organizations put lip service and they're very emblematic around the things that they're doing. But that's part of the reason I'm attracted and sit on the board with San Diego Youth Services, because you are in practice. So, and this is what this conversation about, right? It's the quintessence of leadership. It's the real stuff. It's not just the rainbows and unicorns. So what have you put in place, right, that really develops and mentors some of your employees and gives them access to having those conversations that can grow them, even if it grows them outside,
That's
takes them
right.
outside of SDYS, right? What are some things that you have implemented there at SDYS?
So I won't take credit for this because this has been around since before my time.
Ah,
But we do have, as you mentioned, we have a very strong leadership academy within the agency. And that is for new managers and staff members that we hope to see in management one day. And because we are a nonprofit and we are mainly funded by our contracts and funders,
yeah.
we don't have a lot of money for professional development and to bring trainers in. And so what we do a really good job of is utilizing our own internal talent, right? Our own subject matter experts that come in and they do these trainings. And there's a cohort of 6, it's a 6-month cohort. And it's once a month, it's an all-day training once a month, and each month has a different kind of topic, whether it's budgeting or trauma-informed care or HIPAA. And we bring our own internal experts in and they teach the class.
Yes.
And so we are utilizing our own experts. It's an economical way to do it. But then we do have a training department that really does a good job of identifying other trainings in the community, whether it's other partner agencies or organizations that our staff can go to. Every staff member has to have 20 cultural competency hours a year. And so they need to go to those type of trainings because they're learning about how to be trauma informed, and they're going to LGBTQ trainings.
Right.
And so they have to report back those hours. And so we try to provide as many opportunities as we can for them to get those hours either internally or externally.
I love that. And so I want you all to hear there are ways to manage and navigate professional development in your organization, personal development, tapping into the expertise
That's
within
right.
your organization, right? And they're leading. I loved that when I found that out. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then
Yeah.
also the hybrid model where there are some things identified outside. And I know sometimes there are specific types of consultants that you may bring in for certain things,
Yes.
but it's not
Yes.
a consistent model. So I
Right.
love that. Yes.
Yes. And luckily I occasionally get workforce development grants
Yes.
where I am able to bring in consultants to do listening sessions and
Yes.
and to give some opportunities for our staff that we wouldn't be able to do
Right.
if we didn't have some outside funders that gave us dollars to do those specific functions and meet those objectives.
That's beautiful. And what have you seen like within the confidence, I'll say, of those individuals that are now leading these monthly sessions, right? And they're
Oh, it's
standing in front of
amazing.
their peers, right? As a subject matter
Yes,
expert. What have you seen like grow from that?
it's
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, I just, when you work in a nonprofit and you're here because of the mission
Mm-hmm.
and you have the passion, it's uh, although we do a good job of trying to benchmark and get our staff to where we need to be,
Right.
we are still nonprofit and we are grant funded. And so we are limited to what our grants say we can pay people.
Yeah.
And so you want to give your staff other opportunities to be able to add to their resume. And the
Mm.
leadership academy and being a leadership academy training, I think, is one of those ways that it's a resume builder, because you're
Yeah.
putting on your resume, I worked here, but I also became the subject matter expert in trauma informed care or crisis intervention.
Yeah.
And I did, X number of trainings on crisis intervention. And I mean, we do such a good job of training our internal staff and such great trainer. I mean, our trainers are licensed
Yes.
LMFTs.
Yes.
I mean, they know, they have the credentials to train. Like we could probably, get our trainers out into the community and we could probably generate revenue from them because
Right.
they are so good
They are.
at what they do. Yeah.
They are. And I would also say it's a resume builder, but it's also a skills builder, right? Because
Oh, yeah.
I know I'm thinking of a couple of beautiful young people in your organization who I've seen the growth, right? From
Yes.
my first interaction with them,
Yeah.
maybe a little quieter, right? A little
Uh-huh.
more. And then I'm seeing them again. I'm like, okay, now, right?
Yes.
There's a confidence built. There's a self trust that is now being built. There is
Yeah.
an ownership that's being taken because they're a part of what's being learned. They're a part of kind of the mentorship, right, within the organization.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
awesome.
the therapist that we have doing crisis intervention, I mean, she now becomes the expert in crisis intervention. So when we have crisis situations, which we do a
Wow.
lot with
Yeah.
our youth, I mean, the first thing you think is like, I'm going to call Amy or I'm going to call Laura because
Yeah.
I know that this is their niche. Like, this is what they've been trained to do and they train others to do.
Right.
Yeah.
I love
Yep.
that. So like they are top of mind because
Yes.
they are the experts. And but I want to highlight this. They may have come in with a skill set, but they've cultivated and learned and curated since they've been a part of, SDYS because of the culture that you and your team have created there. And you've all done it together. And I think that is like so
Mhm.
powerful. You all are a case study. I'm telling you. I keep telling you that. You all are a case study of success. And I want to go back to saying it is not easy. Kristen, I know how hard you work. I know how hard Jonathan
Mhm.
works. I know how hard Ludi works. I know how hard Amy and all the amazing individuals work. It's not easy. And let's also say nobody agrees all the time. Okay.
No, no, we do not.
Right, right. How do you navigate that, right? How do you manage disagreement with grace? I'll say. How do you
Mm.
do that? Because I think I think there's still an area where a lot of maybe organizations, leaders, colleagues can learn to navigate disagreement with a little bit of grace, and then sometimes you just have to concede, right? So how
Yes.
does that work for you all?
So, it's funny. The first thing that I thought of when you asked me that was, for me personally,
Hmm.
it really is about having a network of people and mentors like you, Alicia,
Mm,
who I can go to, because
yeah.
being in HR and being in the type of work that I am with youth services, I am just a very emotional person. And I
Yeah.
do take things personally, which I
Yeah.
know is not good for being in HR, but I at
Yeah.
least I own it.
Yeah.
Um, right. And
You have a
so
big heart. You do, because
I
you really
do.
want everyone to win.
I do.
You do. Yes.
I do.
Yes.
I want, and I spent a large part of my career just wanting to be the fixer, right? And it took me a very
Mm,
long time to realize I cannot be the fixer. I
yeah.
have to be the one that is empowering my staff and giving them the tools and resources so they can fix it themselves.
Yeah.
And once I realized that, it was like, oh, you know, like my whole career changed.
Yeah.
It's that
Yeah.
it's not my responsibility to fix it. And so for me, it's having my resources, my mentors, my friends, experts in the field that I can go to and say, this just and you have done this for me, Alicia. I mean, this is just this happened, this was the interaction. And so I can get a perspective that's not just from me taking it to heart and you know, like internalizing, like it's me, like I'm writing the narrative, it's me, it's that, you know. And so there's that. And there's also my boss and I just had this Jonathan, our new CEO, newish CEO, he's been there a year. We just had this conversation this week, is that instead of going on the defensive when you're getting into disagreements, it's how do you go on the offensive? And saying, okay, I may not agree, but like I would really love to understand, like, why do you have this viewpoint? Or can you give me some resources that I can go check out, or people I can talk to better understand why you have this point of view? Because I genuinely want to understand where you're coming from. I just don't want to disagree with you and put my perspective on you. Like, I want to be able to understand and learn from you. And maybe I'm going to change one, maybe I'm not, but I generally want to know what, you know, why we are having this disagreement. And so it really is going on the offensive instead of defensive and just being like, you know, like, you take it down and you ask the questions. And at the end of the day, you may agree to disagree, but at least you've had a conversation. And, you know, I always say that is the responsibility of the, you know, of both parties when there's a disagreement. It's my responsibility to go to them and say, I don't understand, or this is the way that it came off to me. And it's also the other party's responsibility to be able to take that feedback. And maybe it's like, oh my God, sorry, I didn't mean it that way. Or here's what I really meant, right? Like it's very, it's the feedback loop. It's that two-way communication that both parties have a responsibility and have to take accountability for their differing opinions and views.
I love that. I love that this dual culpability, right? And for some reason, and I literally just wrote about this recently, about how conversation has become confrontational, right? Communication, we're just communicating, and professional communication should be warranted, like it should be, you should be asking for it, right? Professionally, give me feedback. I believe feedback is fuel, and it's not from a combative standpoint. It's from a space, as you just said so beautifully, and a place to understand. Doesn't mean that I'm going to necessarily agree with your stance. That's fine. But I do want to understand a little bit more. So let me take the onus of that and do a little more research or whatever, you know, hear a little bit more where you're coming from, so I can understand too. So I absolutely love that, Kristen. I love that. And this is what this conversation is about, right? It's about real things. So I love what you're really sharing. Thank you for sharing about your heart, right? And about how you have grown as a leader, how you realize you're not here to be the fixer, right? You're not here to be MacGyver. Might be aging myself on that one, but
I'm with you.
Because MacGyver fixed everything with the gum wrapper, okay, and a pin.
Gum wrappers and duct tape.
But how you empower the leadership of those you're called to cultivate, develop, and serve, right?
That's right.
Being in HR is of service, because there are humans, right? Our humanity, our people that do the work. So, Kristen, I cannot believe like our time is up. We're literally,
oh my gosh,
I know it's like over. So before we leave our listeners, our live listeners, and those who are on replay, give me a little something that we want to leave our people with. And we have some lovely comments, Kristen. I encourage you to go back and to look at some of them. You know, Sean just said internal trainers is even better because employees have access to the trainer outside the class.
That's right. That's right.
That's a good one, Sean. That's good
Yeah,
stuff right there.
that's
So,
right.
Kristen, the floor is yours. Take us home. Leave us with some yummy tidbits or some insight
Okay.
that you'd like to share. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to read a quote, and I brought it
Oh,
up on my phone because I want to get the quote right. It's
yes.
and I one of my mentors put this quote out, and it just really resonated with me.
Mm,
It's from President Barack Obama.
okay.
Leadership has less to do with titles or rank or chasing attention than with helping others find their voice and reaching their potential. So
Wow.
that is that's what I want to leave you with.
Okay, I'm going to get that quote too. And I love that, helping others find their voice. And that's exactly who you are, Kristen.
Yep.
That's how you move. And that's why our values are so aligned. That's why we're so aligned. So I'm so grateful that you put that on LinkedIn, like who's out here looking to connect. Thank you for doing that, because I'm grateful for our what has now grown into a true friendship.
Yes.
And I'm so excited for your future. I'm excited that you're the president of SHRM San Diego because of who you are and the insights that you're able to bring to that organization as well, because it is rough out here in these HR streets right now.
Yes, it is.
It
It
is.
absolutely
So
is.
it is. It is. So thank you all for joining
Thank
us.
you.
Please make sure to connect with Kristen. Make sure to connect with me. If you're interested in learning more about San Diego Youth Services, definitely they go to LinkedIn, find their page, reach out. If you want to donate, definitely please feel free to do so on the website. As you heard Kristen say, a lot of things come in through private funding as well, especially with a lot of the federal funding being cut or mitigated or removed altogether. So
Yep.
let's support our youth through homelessness, through aging out of foster care, giving them
Yep.
resources, through helping them with trafficking, right? Giving them just a safe space. So
Yes.
please, please, please donate. This is a
Thank you,
worthy,
Alicia.
worthy cause. And we look forward to seeing you on our next The Quintessence of Leadership episodes. All right.
Yes.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
That's a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. Do you have some thoughts, comments, questions as well? Drop them below. I'd love to hear them and actually respond to you as well. Don't forget to hit that little bell that you see, because it'll notify you next time any new opportunities are posted to this channel. So, thank you again, and until next time, remember, continue to build trust to transform, whether it's transforming your community, your home, your business, your workplace. Your voice is required. Looking forward to seeing you then. Bye.